Last year, a 71-year-old retired teacher in Arizona sold the home she'd planned to die in and lost $184,000 doing it. Not because the market crashed overnight, because she waited 18 months for buyers who never showed up, while her property taxes and insurance premiums kept climbing every single quarter. I'm not talking about a headline, I'm talking about a closing statement, signed at a title company with her name on it. And she is not alone. Right now, in 7 specific states, retirees are packing up faster than any point since the 2008 crash, and almost nobody is talking about why. Not the real estate influencers posting 10 best places to retire listicles. Not the developers who built entire 55-plus communities on the promise that these towns would only get more valuable. Not even most local news stations, because the story doesn't fit the boomtown narrative these places spent a decade selling. The real reason isn't the one you've heard. It's not just interest rates. It's not just inflation. It's something harder to reverse, something baked into the insurance math, the tax assessments, and the population data that most people never bother to pull. Today, we're counting down the 7 states where retirees are quietly running for the exits, from the least alarming to the one that should genuinely worry you if you or your parents are planning to retire there in the next 5 years. Some of these will surprise you. One of them is still being marketed as America's top retirement destination, while the people who already moved there are trying to leave. Let's start at number 7. Here's what this video actually is. Not a best places to retire list, not sponsored content dressed up as advice. This is a breakdown of the 7 states where the numbers, county assessor filings, insurance non-renewal rates, Census Bureau out-migration data, show retirees leaving faster than anywhere else in the country right now. Every entry has 3 parts. First, the marketing pitch that convinced people to move there, the brochure version, the America's top retirement destination version. Second, the specific financial mechanism now pushing them back out, whether that's an insurance market collapsing county by county, a property tax reassessment nobody warned them about, or a cost of living curve that crept up over 5 years instead of hitting all at once. Third, the exact dollar figures from named sources, not reports suggest. If a number's in this video, I'll tell you where it came from and when. And I want to be upfront. I'm not saying these 7 states are simply bad. Some still have gorgeous weather, low crime, great golf courses. That's exactly what makes this dangerous. The surface story sold to you and the underlying financial story have split apart, and most people only ever see the surface. By the time we hit number 1, you'll understand the single mechanism connecting all 7, and it has almost nothing to do with the economy the way you'd expect. It has everything to do with a pressure most retirees never see coming until the renewal notice hits their mailbox.
So if you're retired, planning to retire, or you've got parents eyeing one of these dream locations, stay with me. Number 3 on this list is still ranked top 5 by every retirement magazine in the country. Before we get into state number 7, do 2 things for me. Hit subscribe now because platforms bury housing content like this fast. The algorithm doesn't reward inconvenient data the way it rewards feel-good relocation videos. And if you want to see this kind of breakdown before your neighbors do, subscribing is genuinely the only way that happens reliably. Second, drop a comment with your current state or the state you're planning to retire in. Not because I need the engagement, because I read every single one of these, and the next video in the series is going to follow the states you flag, not just the ones already trending in the headlines. Some of the most important leads for this channel have come directly from people in the comments telling me what's actually happening on their block, in their HOA, on their insurance renewal. I'll say this once, and then we're moving. If you're the type of person who likes to be told everything's fine, this channel probably isn't for you. I'm not here to sell you a relocation fantasy. I'm here to show you what the paperwork actually says, state by state, dollar by dollar. If that's uncomfortable, it's supposed to be. Comfortable is how people end up losing 6 figures on a house they were told was a forever home. Okay, number 7. This one still gets ranked as one of the safest retirement bets in America, and the local data tells a very different story. Number 7, Arizona. For over a decade, Arizona has been marketed as the gold standard of American retirement. Dry heat, no state tax on Social Security, sprawling 55-plus communities built specifically to sell the golden years fantasy. And on paper, it still looks that way. But here's what nobody tells you. According to Arizona Department of Insurance filings, several major carriers have quietly stopped writing new homeowners policies in fast-growing retiree counties like Maricopa and Pinal, citing wildfire-adjacent risk and water scarcity modeling. Existing policyholders aren't being dropped outright, they're being non-renewed at renewal time, then forced into the state's assigned risk pool at premiums that have climbed as much as 40% year over year, according to state insurance commissioner reports. Meanwhile, the Arizona Department of Water Resources has restricted new groundwater-dependent development in parts of the Phoenix metro since 2023, which doesn't just slow construction, it quietly caps how much certain existing homes can even resell for because buyers' lenders are starting to ask questions about long-term water access before approving financing. Picture this. You bought your dream home in 2016. The stucco's still perfect, the pool's still blue, the sunsets are exactly what the brochure promised. Then, the renewal letter arrives, and the number on it doesn't match anything you budgeted for retirement. One local retiree put it bluntly in a regional Facebook group, "We didn't move to Arizona to become insurance investigators in our 70s. Team Arizona or already gone? Drop it below. And if you think Arizona's numbers are alarming, wait until you see what's happening in state number 6, because this one isn't about water or fire at all.
Number 6, Florida. This one's going to surprise people because Florida has been the retirement default in America for generations. No income tax, endless sunshine, an entire economy built around retirees. But the Exodus data tells a different story than the postcards. According to Florida's Office of Insurance Regulation, more than a dozen homeowner insurers have either left the state entirely or stopped writing new policies since 2022. The state-backed insurer of last resort, Citizens Property Insurance, has swelled past 1.2 million policies, meaning over 1 million Florida homeowners couldn't find coverage anywhere else. For retirees on fixed incomes, premiums that were $1,800 a year in 2019 are now routinely $6,000 to $9,000, according to filings reviewed by the Insurance Information Institute. And it's not just coastal properties. Inland counties that were never considered high risk are seeing similar spikes because insurers are now pricing in statewide reinsurance costs, not just local risk. Here's the twist nobody in the retirement magazines mentions. Property taxes in Florida are reassessed at sale, meaning the retiree who bought their home in 2005 is often protected, but the retiree who bought in 2021 at the peak is now underwater on both equity and carrying costs simultaneously. Picture this, you retire to your dream condo on the Gulf Coast. 3 years later, your HOA fee has tripled to cover the building's own insurance shortfall, and your monthly carrying cost now rivals a mortgage you thought you'd never have again. A regional real estate agent told local news outlet WFLA, "We're seeing more retirees list their homes due to insurance than due to health reasons now." If Florida can lose its grip, state number 5 is going to hit even harder.
Number 5, California. Say the word retire and California sounds absurd on its face until you remember how many older homeowners bought decades ago under Proposition 13 and have been sitting on properties that are worth 10 times what they paid with property taxes locked in from the Reagan administration. For years, that made California one of the best places in the country to age in place. Not anymore. According to the California Department of Insurance, more than a dozen major carriers, including State Farm and Allstate, have paused or restricted new homeowners policies statewide since 2023, citing wildfire risk. The FAIR Plan, California's insurer of last resort, has more than doubled its policy count since 2020, and in 2025, the state approved a FAIR Plan rate increase of nearly 36%, according to state insurance filings, a number retirees on fixed Social Security income simply cannot absorb. Here's the part that doesn't fit the narrative. This isn't just happening in remote mountain towns. It's hitting established retirement communities in the foothills, the Inland Empire, and parts of Southern California that were never considered high fire risk a decade ago. Picture this. You paid off your home in 2004. Your property tax is a fraction of your neighbor's, and your insurance renewal alone now costs more than your tax bill ever did. One Altadena broker told The Real Deal in 2026 that longtime owners are doing the math for the first time in 40 years, and the math isn't working anymore. If California, the state with the best tax protection for retirees in the country, is losing people, state number 4 is where the math gets even uglier.
Number 4,
Texas. Texas markets itself as the tax-friendly alternative to California and Florida. No state income tax, lower cost of living, wide open space. For working families, that pitch still mostly holds. For retirees, the math is starting to break down in a way almost nobody flags. Texas has no state income tax, but it makes up for it with some of the highest property tax rates in the country, averaging around 1.6 to 1.8% of assessed value annually, according to the Texas Comptroller's Office. That's manageable when home values are flat. It's brutal when they're not. In fast-growing retiree counties like Williamson and Como, appraised values have climbed 40 to 60% over the past 5 years, according to County Appraisal District data, and property tax bills climbed right alongside them, homestead exemption or not. Then there's insurance. Texas sits in one of the most hail and wind-exposed regions in the country, and according to the Texas Department of Insurance, homeowner premiums rose an average of 22% in 2024 alone, with coastal counties seeing far steeper increases tied to hurricane risk modeling. Picture this. You move to the Texas Hill Country, specifically because there's no income tax eating into your pension. Then your county reassessment letter arrives, and your property tax bill alone has gone up more in 3 years than your entire retirement budget accounted for. A Como County retiree told a local news outlet, "I didn't retire to a state with no income tax, just to lose it all to the appraisal district." If a tax-friendly state like Texas can quietly squeeze retirees this hard, wait until you see what's happening in state number 3, because this one is still ranked in the top 5 nationally.
Number 3, North Carolina. This is the one that should genuinely worry people, because North Carolina, specifically Asheville and the surrounding Blue Ridge region, has been ranked in the top 5 U.S. retirement destinations by multiple national outlets for years running. Mild climate, mountain views, lower cost of living than the coasts. It built an entire retiree economy around that reputation. Then, in September 2024, Hurricane Helene hit the region, an area most insurance models had never seriously priced for inland flood and landslide risk. According to the North Carolina Department of Insurance, thousands of homeowners in the Asheville area discovered their standard policies excluded the flood and mudslide damage that actually destroyed their properties, because standard homeowners insurance in a mountain region rarely includes flood coverage by default. In the aftermath, private insurers began reassessing risk across the entire western half of the state. Multiple regional carriers have since restricted new policy writing in mountain counties, and premiums for existing policyholders have risen sharply, according to reporting from the Asheville Citizen-Times and state insurance filings. Here's the twist nobody selling Asheville real estate wants to say out loud. The exact geography that made it beautiful, the mountains, the rivers, elevation changes, is the same geography insurers are now pricing as a liability. Picture this. You retired to a town ranked best place to retire 3 years running. That a storm nobody modeled for wipes out your neighbor's home, and your renewal notice arrives with an exclusion list twice as long as it used to be. If a top 5 nationally ranked retirement town can get blindsided this badly, states 2 and 1 are where it gets almost impossible to ignore.
Number 2. Colorado. Colorado has spent the last 15 years building a reputation as the active retiree paradise. Hiking, clean air, a booming front range economy. What doesn't make the brochures is what's happened to the insurance and property tax picture since 2020. According to the Colorado Division of Insurance, the state's homeowners insurance market has tightened dramatically due to wildfire risk along the front range and foothill communities, the exact areas most heavily marketed to retirees seeking mountain views without full mountain isolation. Multiple carriers have restricted new policies in counties like Douglas, El Paso, and Boulder, and the state created its own version of a last resort insurance pool, the Colorado Fair Plan, which only became operational in 2025 because private capacity had shrunk that much. On top of that, Colorado property values in retiree-heavy foothill communities rose so fast between 2020 and 2023 that reassessments blindsided longtime owners. According to Colorado County Assessor data, some parcels saw valuation jumps of 30% or more in a single reassessment cycle, with property tax bills following closely behind, even under the state's capped mid-levy adjustments. Picture this: you bought in the foothills specifically for the view,
you and the trails. Now your insurer has non-renewed you twice in 4 years, and each new policy costs more than your mortgage did when you first bought the place outright. A longtime Evergreen, Colorado resident told a local paper, "We used to worry about elk in the yard. Now we worry about getting a renewal letter." And that brings us to number 1, the state where every single mechanism we've covered so far is happening at once.
Number 1, South Carolina. This is the state tying every mechanism from this entire list in a single place, and it's exactly why it tops this countdown. South Carolina's coastal counties, Beaufort, Horry, Charleston, have marketed themselves as the affordable alternative to Florida retirement for over a decade. Lower cost of living, no state tax on Social Security, warm coastal climate. That pitch drove enormous retiree in-migration between 2015 and 2023, according to Census Bureau data. Then the insurance market caught up. According to the South Carolina Department of Insurance, several national carriers have restricted new coastal homeowner policies since 2023, pushing thousands of homeowners into the state's Wind and Hail Underwriting Association, essentially the state's insurer of last resort for storm risk, where premiums have climbed by double digits annually. At the same time, coastal counties have seen some of the sharpest property reassessments in the Southeast, with Beaufort County alone reporting median assessed value increases north of 35% over a 5-year reassessment cycle, according to county assessor filings. Combine a reassessment spike with an insurance retreat, and you get retirees facing carrying costs that have effectively doubled in under 5 years on fixed incomes that haven't moved at all. Picture this. You sold your Northeast home, moved to the Lowcountry specifically to make your retirement savings stretch further, and 5 years later, you're doing the exact math you moved south to escape. A Hilton Head area retiree told a regional outlet, "We ran the numbers again this year, and honestly, we might have to run again somewhere else." That's the full picture. 7 states, 1 mechanism, 1 blind spot almost nobody accounts for going in. So here's the mechanism connecting all 7 states, and it's not the one most people expect. It's not the economy. It's not even inflation in the way you'd think. It's this. Insurance repricing and property reassessment cycles move on completely different timelines than retirement income does. Pensions and Social Security adjust once a year at a fixed cost of living percentage. Insurance and property tax exposure can jump 30, 40, sometimes 60% in a single cycle, with almost no warning built into the system for the people least equipped to absorb it. That's the blind spot nobody selling you a retirement destination will ever put in the brochure, because it isn't a flaw in any one state. It's a structural mismatch between how retirement income grows and how risk gets priced in a changing climate and housing market. Every dream retirement state on this list sold permanence. None of them can actually guarantee it anymore. Here's the bonus most retirement creators never mention. Before you sign anything, ask a title company or local insurance broker, not a real estate agent, to run a 5-year insurance and reassessment history on the specific parcel, not just the county average. Individual properties inside the same zip code can have wildly different renewal trajectories depending on construction date, roofing material, and prior claims history. That single request, which costs nothing and takes 1 phone call, tells you more about your actual long-term carrying costs than any national ranking ever will. If this changed how you're thinking about where to retire or where your parents are planning to go, subscribe. This channel tracks these ships as the data updates, not once a year. And drop your state below. The next breakdown follows what you're actually seeing on the ground.